next guests are from Orlando, Florida. They're here tonight with a song from their new album, Crash the Party.
It's Jimmy Kimmel Live, y'all. The hip-hop spelling bee with Smilez Southstar.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a special episode of ChluyTalk. I am your host, Hella Chluy. Today's guest needs no introduction, so I'm going to roll the intro. So today's guest is a hip-hop legend from the early 2000s. You guys may have remembered the song, Tell Me What You Think Is Going On. You know what I mean? And he was like one half of a duo, a hip-hop duo, Smilez Southstar. Without further ado, this is Rob Campman.
What's up,
Rob?
my brother?
How you doing?
Man, you sing that better than I do, bro.
Man,
People always,
yo.
you know, it's funny. People always, when they see me, they be like, if they recognize it, I recognize. What was that song you sing? How did it go? Can you sing it for me? And I'm like, I didn't sing the part that you were referencing, right?
No, like to this day, we don't know who sang it. Do you know the vocalist that sang it?
Yeah, actually, the vocalist that sang it was Billy Lawrence. She was super dope artist that was signed to, I believe, Elektra at the time, and she actually sang on Mace's album. I forget the name of the song she sang on, but she was actually she did vocals on Mace's album as well. But super dope. Shout out to Billy Lawrence.
Billy Lawrence,
man.
you said? Billy?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, shout out to Billy Lawrence, man. It's a great hook. Great hook. But before we get into that smash single, I just want to check in on you, see how you doing, man. How you been? You know, we've been like friends like on social media for the longest.
Yeah.
Like I think like maybe year 99.
Well, we
2000.
met in person now, so you know what I'm saying? Like, we met in Philly.
We met in Philly in 2014,
we were just
2016.
internet friends before Philly Fest.
Yeah, before that, yeah. So it's I think we met Philly Fest. Shout out to Tam Level Kim. He put on a cool show with like all these nice hip hop lineup, and it just it was dope. I think it was 2016, 14.
Man, I can't believe it's even been that long. But yeah, it's probably been about 4 or 5 years for sure.
Yeah, that was dope, man. So it was finally good to like meet you in person, man. You're like 7 feet tall, man. You're like a tall Asian. I'm over here. I'm the size of Tory Lanez, 5'3".
I may appear larger in person than in the TV. Yes. No, I'm kidding, man.
For real?
But yeah, no, that was some good times, man, in Philly, man. But now 2020's been good, man. I mean, other than everything going on, I mean, I can't complain. Family's good. I caught COVID in June, got over it, so I'm healthy again now. So, overall, it's been good, man.
Oh, wow. So you caught COVID? Like, you got it in June?
Yeah, I had it in June. I probably battled it maybe about, probably right around 10 to 12 days. Lucky for me, I mean, I did have shortness of breath and like chest pains for like a couple days. But lucky for me, from what I've heard from friends and other people and, the news or whatever, I didn't get, the worst of it. So, I'm definitely blessed, and, it's not fun, man. So, definitely everybody out there, man, wear a mask, man.
Dude.
I don't care what anyone tells you, man. It's not
wear
worth
your mask, y'all. It's real,
not
man.
Worth
it's
catching
like,
it, man.
And COVID's real. It's still here. It's like, don't think for a second things going to get back to normal. So, man.
The thing is, the worst part about COVID is, I don't even know if it's the symptoms, obviously, if you have bad symptoms, then they're bad. But I think the worst part of it is that you're just like away from everybody.
Mm-hmm. The quarantine part.
Yeah, like quarantine and just isolating and trying to stay away from, your family, your kids, whatever it is, whoever you're around. I think that part might drive people crazy more than the symptoms. The symptoms I had, again, I think they were pretty light, but they were very similar to like having a flu, maybe like bronchitis or something, but but being stuck in the house, stuck in a room, eating away from everybody, that part sucked. But man, I can't complain, man.
Man, I'm glad you're healthy and you overcame it, man. Like, what was like how did you find out that you got it? Did you get a regular checkup, or did you feel symptoms then you went to the doctor?
Yeah, no, I actually had a little kind of like a cough that wouldn't go away. Kind of stuck, kind of just scratchy, like a scruffy throat, and then someone I knew that I had contact with had caught it. So tested positive. So then I was like, all right, well, let me go get tested. And then sure enough, it came back positive. So, just quarantined for basically 2 weeks, just kind of staying huddled up. I wore a mask. So why I tell people to wear a mask and how much that definitely helps is because nobody that was actually close to me that I had contact with tested positive, because the minute I felt any sort of like a cough or anything, I basically wore a mask all day, in the house, wherever I was. I mean, all day in the house, I didn't really go out, obviously, but, in the house, whenever I was around people, I was pretty much wearing a mask. So, I think the mask thing is definitely like 95% effective, man. I think you guys, definitely works, man.
Definitely.
But
man.
we're here, man. I can't believe it's
Here
October.
to do this interview, man. Yo, thanks for blessing me, man. Yo, just take a sip. What you sipping on?
Toast to
yo,
you.
I'm sipping on some rum, bro. I don't have a shot glass, so I got my little Starbucks mug.
Ain't nothing wrong, man. You can hide the drink in the mug. It's okay. I got you. I'm a little more upfront with it, I guess.
Cheers.
Nah, I got this. I got a little bit of this VSOP left, so I figured I'd kill it.
Some VSOPs.
But yeah, cheers to you, man.
Cheers, man. Cheers to success, friendship, and just longevity, man. I see you doing your thing, and I'm like, yo, I gotta get Southstar on the podcast. Like that's to me, you're a legend. Do you consider yourself a legend in the game, or are you just like?
I mean, I don't know if legend's a pretty, big, strong word, right? Like,
right.
It's for me, when I think of legends in music, you're talking guys like, if you think hip hop, you're talking about, the Jay-Z's, the Biggies, the Pacs. But I get that. I mean, a lot of people do say that, and they'll use that in reference to me. And I'm humbly, I'm definitely humbled by it. Like, because to me, again, like I look at it like I'm like, man, I don't look at myself as a legend. I just look at it as an artist that had a hit record. But to other people, when they tell me the stories, or I grew up watching you, or you especially for the Asian community, right? Like,
exactly.
Me and Jen had a conversation on my show, on my podcast, Conversations. Me and him talked about being two Asian kids, Chinese kids coming up, and in hip hop at a time where there weren't that many Asian American representation in hip hop. So I think when I hear from that side, I'm humbled by it, that word would even be used with my name. I prefer legend over OG, because I feel like when people say OG, they're just trying to call me old on the low.
Oh yeah, I feel you too. Yeah, so like, shout out to Jen. Like you guys, I think it was like around the same time, like the same early 2000s ish. So I feel like Jen was like really popular on the battle side, and I feel, but when the Tell Me came out, it was like I'm like, this guy's not white, this guy's not black.
Yeah.
He could be Asian, but he could also be Latino. You never know that some of the Latinos look Asian and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, so I wanted to do research, and I later found out I think you're like a Chinese, right? You're
part Chinese, Filipino, and then I got German as well. My mom is full Chinese. My dad is half Filipino and half German.
Oh, that's what's up. That's a deadly combo. Yeah, but like, I consider you a legend.
And I got this Laos shirt on, so just real quick, shout out Laos Supply, because people probably be like, is he Laotian? No, but I love all my Asian family, but shout out Laos Supply. This is a dope ass jersey.
That's what's up, man.
Chinese, Filipino, and German.
That's what's up, man. That's why I rock with you too. You support the people that support you. You're not too good to shout out people, and especially with the care package. I try my best to shout people out too. But that's what's up, man. You humble, like you always kept it 100 with me from day one. You know what I mean? Like
man.
That's why I respect you so much. And I was saying, like I consider you a legend because, like you were saying, like with the Asian community, like we've never seen like an Asian hip hop or an Asian person in the music industry, period, on like the BETs, the MTVs, the MTV Jams, and I'm like, dang, you're like growing up in like like middle school, like me and my homies, like all my Asian friends, we had rap dreams too. I'm like, damn, you gave us hope. That's what I was gonna say. You gave us hope. Like, yo, if you can do it, maybe I can do it one day.
Hey,
so
that's that's all that matters, man. I mean, even from my standpoint, the people that I looked up to, coming into the game, obviously I didn't have like an Asian American rapper that I can be like, oh, maybe I can do it, but I look at guys like Eminem, kind of breaking that color barrier, for hip hop, and just watching some of these guys. I mean, even if you go back to even like Jay-Z, watching, I mean, you can find inspiration from anything, but I think definitely being able to see a familiar face would have been dope for myself, but I think that's dope that when younger or other artists or other Asian American artists say that to me, because I'm like, I mean, hey man, that's dope, man. And now it's on you to open the doors for the next generation. You know what I mean? And
sure.
shout out to you too, because some of the things you're doing right now, I'm sure there's kids that are looking at you like, man, that's a familiar face, man. Maybe I can do that one day, and I can be, I can do what he's doing.
Exactly. Like I think I have a lot, like a lot of kids that do watch my stuff. So that's why I kind of like, when it comes to like, the Khmer community, like I do like comedy stuff, but like when you cuss in Khmer, I try to keep it clean, keep it PG for the kids. Because also like their parents and stuff watch me too, so it's like I want to set a good example for them, because like when you cuss in my language, it means 10 times worse than English. It like rips your skin. So and then like my mom's on Facebook now, so I gotta be on my best behavior. I don't want to disgrace my mom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right.
I'm pushing 40, almost 40. So it's like I'm like 3 more years. I'm almost 40. So I'm like I gotta do something that's positive, that maybe give the kids hope, or like motivate them to do what they do. It don't have to be rap. It don't have to be comedy. It don't have to be like, like music or nothing like that. But just like, to me, like this podcast thing is new to me. So I'm still, this is me getting out of my comfort zone. And now I'm starting to get addicted to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shout out to you. Salute to you for your conversations. I've been watching that. I think like that's like that's even more like admirable, because you're doing it live. Like, you can't be stuttering like me and shit. I be editing, jump cut edits. It's like, yo, that's... I think at some point I want to go live, take ChluyTalk a couple live episodes just to see how I do. But I was like, I think it's good to engage. Like as a public figure, you have to like engage with your following. And I think that's very important. And before, like, I didn't really open up to people. I just uploaded comedy content and just let it rock. And then they're like, I don't want to be that computer. I don't want to be a robot. I just like, I want them to know I'm human too. I got feelings. I have certain views. We could agree to disagree. Whatever that's going on with the world, that's what I want to use the podcast too. So I feel we have a lot to talk about. Not just about music, yourself. I just like whatever that's going on.
There's so many different aspects, man. And I mean, with social media, again, man. Like I said, man, doing the podcast thing. I actually went back and counted how many episodes I did of the conversations. I did literally like 21 straight weeks of episodes, and
wow.
I haven't done a couple over this past month, just because I'm actually trying to take the show now kind of next level. So I'm working on shooting it almost television style, but I want to keep the live aspect to it. So those are some of the things that I'm kind of working on now. But I've had fun, man. I mean, again, like 2020 has been a weird year, the quarantine and, with COVID and, just being stuck at home or in the house because, things are shut down. And you're in New York, right? I think it's still, I heard it.
It was the epicenter in the beginning. Yeah. In the beginning, it was the epicenter, and I haven't taken the subway since March, bro. Like, I used to take the subway every day to go to work and stuff. So it was like, I still don't take the subway now because, you're exposed to like millions of people that take the subway. And even though it might be like less crowded, I still don't trust it. You don't know they sprayed every crevice of that subway. There's like, there's people that sleep in there. So it's like, you never know, man. So I'm just riding my bike to stay healthy. You know what I mean? And just getting around the neighborhood. Like I haven't really go to Manhattan. Like I feel like everything I have is in Brooklyn right now. So it's like, plus I have a family. I have my girl's grandma that lives here, so I don't want to like bring the COVID to her. You know what I mean? Like she's old. I feel like my health is lit. Like my immune system will fight it. Like if I get it like you, I'll probably overcome it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Have my coughs here and there, but like I just care about the people around me, my fam. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. That's what's important, man. But yeah, no, with COVID, I had the opportunity to just do the live conversations, man, and I called a lot of my friends and just be like, yo, you want to just get on live and just chop it up? And they're like, what we gonna talk about? I was like, I don't really know. Just we're gonna talk about what we talk about when we're not on camera, And that was kind of the concept of conversations was, a lot of times I feel like, and even at Philly Fest, being around other creative people and just having these conversations sometimes and talking to people, a lot of conversations, I feel like they're very interesting and there's some good gems that are usually dropped, and if you're lucky enough to be around listening to it, you might be able to take some of that away. I wanted to be able to provide that to just like more people, so that people can hear our story, because our story isn't always perfect, right? It's not just about, hey, I had a hit record, everything was great, it was a lot of struggle, a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles before and after the record, and to be able to kind of fight through that and just understand how things work, hopefully the next generation can learn from it and not fall into the same, make the same mistakes.
Respect. Yeah, man. Like you still do it like every Wednesday on Instagram, right? So if you guys are not following Rob, make sure you follow him on Instagram. I have his links on the screen. It's I am Rob Campman, and every Wednesday he has like a new guest with gems, man. Like your network's crazy, man. Like you got all these industry people, like, you know, like I'm like damn, you got like, you know, like what's his name, Kevin Costum, like he's major in the industry. Like if you know, you know, like, you know, like the pen game, right? Like
I've had some really dope, you know, again, I got some really dope homies of mine, man, and friends that I know and you know, that were open to doing it. You know, Kevin Costum, singer-songwriter extraordinaire. He wrote, just to give you one, you know, knock you down for Carrie Hilson. He wrote that.
Oh, he did?
He wrote,
oh
yeah,
my
he
God,
wrote that.
that's
He
one of
wrote
my
Go
favorites
Getter
from her.
He wrote the Go Getter hook for Young Jeezy that R. Kelly sang. Recently he wrote Higher with DJ Khaled and John Legend and Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace to Nip. So, you know, big time singer-songwriter, you know, again, a friend of mine, grew up right here in Orlando. We grew up together. You know, I got Timothy De La Ghetto on.
That's the homie. I met him at Philly Fest too for the first time. So yeah. He's one of like the OG. Well, the legend. You know, let's just say he's a legend.
No, we all OGs, man.
He's a legend.
But no, like
one of the
sure,
first
man,
YouTubers.
You know, so I had, you know, Timothy De La Ghetto on, you know, super dope. You know, Jen, you know,
MC
funny
Jen.
thing is I met Jen for the first time doing a show in Chicago, like around the same time as Philly Fest. So it was probably like 15 or 16. That's the first time, not the first time I met him, but literally the first time me and him ever had a conversation, like sat down and chopped it up. And I remember shout out my brother Jargon out in Chicago. He brought us out there for an event, and we went to dinner like the night that, you know, we landed. It was just basically me, him, Jargon, and then the other partner, Sam, that brought us out there. So we were just sitting at dinner, just talking, man. And you know, I'm asking Jen, like, you know, what was it like back then, man? Like, you know, you Rough Riders and all that. And then he's asking me, and what I come to realize is, man, we had like the same exact story.
The same story,
you know,
right?
like we were like in the
That's
exact same position. And we were both young, so we didn't, you know, again, y'all got to understand, like I was what, like early 20s, you know what I'm saying? Like 22, 21, 22 years old at the time. I get this record deal, single comes out. Next thing you know, Tell Me takes off. I have no idea what I'm doing in the music industry. You know what I mean? Like,
you was 21? You were 21?
21, 22 at the time, you know? So I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, all I know is, we got to hit record. Like everywhere we go, they know me. Like I can't, you know, we can't walk anywhere. We can't do this, right? And you know, looking back, I'm like, man, you know, I wish I had more knowledge of what I learned, you know, but a lot of the knowledge I have is because I learned it going through it.
Right.
You know, and, but, you know, talking to Jen is the same thing, man. Like, you know, and that was actually a really dope episode of Conversation. So, any of y'all listening out there watching, man, definitely go check that out again on my Instagram page. Has all the episodes. I typically do them every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, live on IG. But like I said, I am working on boosting up the quality of the show and kind of taking it next level. So right now I kind of have it on hold for October, but I am looking at bringing it back, you know, either later this year or early 2021 with a new and bigger, improved look.
Yes, sir.
As you would.
Level up. Yeah, that's dope, man. I'm excited for that, man. I know it's gonna take off, man. You let me know how I could help, and just definitely want to support. You know, I think we gotta just support each other. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Also, like, you said, that the Chicago. That was when you guys did the I think it was the A Train cipher.
Yeah, that's when we did the cipher.
Yeah, Jargon.
Yep,
That was dope.
and J Rod.
Was that all off the top? Or did everybody spit off the top, or did someone do their, you know, spit like their writtens from 08?
I didn't do it off the top, man. I mean, I definitely, it was a written that I had, man. But I don't, you know, I couldn't even.
That's
tell
what
you, man.
freestyles are these days. They just call it freestyle. Like you get the baby on there, and then he's spitting like his whole album. Yeah, freestyle.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you know, like the one thing is, most of us, I know Jargon's amazing with his bars. Jen is amazing with freestyle.
Off top, he's off top. He's a real, he's a real freestyler.
Dope. I used to be like really big into that, and then. You know, I got more into songwriting and learning that side of things. So I wouldn't say that I'm like the best at spitting off the top. I can, you know, but it probably wouldn't be dope. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I think that's like it's like a skill, like a gift almost. Like
Yeah,
Or it depends how many shots of rum I get, then I might freestyle some
yeah, man. Yeah. Remember the night in Philly when we went to the karaoke spot for the dinner?
Oh yeah.
The first night
Yeah.
that was lit, man. Actually, now that I'm thinking back, man, I was like, man, that dinner was lit, man.
Yeah, whose idea was it to like mix I think it was Jamrock, Jameson with Ciroc. That was a bad idea.
Oh, that was
that was a bad idea. I think I puked.
That?
I think it was Tam, man. Tam's bad influence.
Because I was drinking my main drink at the time. I remember back then when the Peach Ciroc came out, I used to love Peach Ciroc on the rocks. And then I think Level had like Jameson, and he was like, "Let's put it together." I was like, "Oh, you want that Jam Rock?" Oh, I don't know, you want that Jam Rock, man.
We broke the rules. We're not supposed to mix dark and clear, but it's never.
Did.
Yeah, but we got too lit. I got too lit. Yeah.
No, Philly Fest was a great time, man. That was one of the dopest events I went to, man. So shout out to Level, man. It was
no way.
No, it was fun. I thought it was just cool, man. Like I thought the karaoke event the first night was dope, you know. And
I live for that stuff. Karaoke,
and then we kind of
bar
hop. And then, you know, I thought the concert was dope, you know, and I think the people and everybody all together was good vibes.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to Philly, man. I always got love for Philly. Like even like this coffee mug is it's a Philadelphia coffee mug.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Philly, man. I had some good times over there. And then we had some good food, man, in the Cambodia town.
Oh, yeah, the food was really underrated. I think Philly should be known as, like, a food town. Like, it's time to give them that stamp of, it's a food city. Like, not just cheesesteaks. They got, like, all kinds of cuisine of all ethnicities, and it's, like, delicious.
Yeah, I think most
Lao
big
food is
cities
good.
are like
The Khmer
that,
food's good. The Thai food's good. Yeah. The Italian food's top-notch. For sure.
But the Cambodian food that we went to that little restaurant in the middle of Cambodia.
I think at the time was Khmer Kitchen.
And let me just say, man, middle of the hood.
Middle of the hood, for sure.
Right. We go, and the reason I'm saying this is because I think, so I remember we went to the restaurant, I think it was cash only.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I only had my card, and I was like, all right, well, I got to go get cash. Where's the ATM? They said, it's right down the block. I was like, all right, cool. So, you know me, I roam, you know, I start walking up the block. And I got people like looking at me crazy, and I'm like, all right. I was like, and they was like,
who's this Chino?
Yeah, they're like, you need, you know. Luckily, I probably look Asian because they probably like, you can't walk. They probably think I'm okay. I'm from there, you know. But I literally had to run into like this ATM in this like little corner store, man, and pull out some money just to pay for lunch, man. But nah, shout out to Philly, man. That was a good time, and they had that little festival with the street food that we went to as well by like the Temple
you went to that too? Oh yeah,
we went like during the day.
Little park.
Dope,
they had
man.
they'd be grilling out there. The Six and Wolf Park. Yeah, man. I totally forgot we did all that, man. We did so much in a weekend, right?
In 3 days, man. I'm telling you, it was a good time.
Wow. So rewind to like I just know you from like you know like the internet. Before the internet became the internet, I think it was like AZNraps.com. Remember that little forum where
AZNraps.com,
a place where hip hop people try to like to do online battles, post their songs. I think you came a little later, like because you were still famous. You were still like a major label. So it was like I think you came like probably towards the end of I think Asian Raps started.
Asian Raps, I was.
Or
definitely
were you still there?
The end. No, I was definitely. I definitely wasn't like in the very beginning. Because someone actually put me onto it. And, you know, when I was already doing music and they was like, yo, you been on this message board called Asian Raps? I'm like, nah. I was like, there's an Asian Raps forum? Like,
what did you think about it at the time when you heard about it?
The first thing, I'm like, is there that many Asian rappers? Because I only know of me and Jen, you know? Like, who else is rapping out there that's Asian, right? And, but when I started like going on, and I forgot the guy that started the founder.
Future dude, I think his name was Dan Nguyen, I think. But his name was Future Dude, his alias. Shout out to Future Dude, wherever you are. Man, thank you.
I thought, yeah,
for real.
And like I said, when I went and checked out the website, I was like, yo, there's a lot of Asians that rap. I was like, this is cool, you know, it's dope. And you know, and then of course I started like, you know, checking stuff out, commenting here and there, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, is this really him?" And you know, and then of course you got the people that are like, "Oh, let's battle, let's do this," and I'm just like, "Wow." But for me, it was just like I was like, "Yo, I thought it was a dope that there was a platform, you know,
for a community,
for Asian American, you know, hip hop artists, you know, because again, like I come from an era where there wasn't a platform, you know, like I had to go, I wasn't in. You know, I wasn't running around like battling in a Chinatown or like in an Asian town, like with Asian rappers. You know what I mean? Like I was in the streets battling with, every, in the
big
hood
dogs
battling rappers.
in the
You know what I'm
hood, yeah.
saying? Like, and really in the scene. You know what I mean? So to see something like that Asian raps, that I was like a place for Asian American hip hop artists to come and share their music and maybe build a following and do that. I thought that was dope, man. And it's cool to see where the internet's gone since then. Because a lot of
Yeah.
Asian American hip hop artists, or rappers have been able to do pretty well and make somewhat of a living off of it, and that's dope.
Yeah, you like I don't know if you know, it's like a lot of us came from there. Like I used to chat with everybody like Far East Movement. They was in the Asian raps heavy.
Yeah.
They was in the message boards.
Well,
They're
it's
giving
funny.
me tips
So
on how to record.
Far East Movement, back AOL days too. AOL screen
Yeah,
name.
the chat rooms, yeah.
uppercase, lowercase, high. You know how you write shit. You make it look all cool. Uppercase M, lowercase I.
With a 0 as an O. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That I actually, Kev Nish from
Yeah.
Far East Movement. Me and him actually chatted because through Asian raps, and then we connected through AOL online, and so I had knew about them like before like a G6. You know what I'm saying? And it's just dope. Like I said, man, it's dope to see some of these. Believe it or not, it's been a lot of Asian American hip hop representation in pop culture. Far East
In the
Movement.
culture.
Shout out to Aquafina.
Aquafina,
like she's doing it
she's
big
doing
time
it
in
big.
the
Like
films.
she's on a silver screen too. Like she made it. She's from New York
So-
too. So it's
So
like
big shout out to
inspiring.
her. Guys like Dumbfounded who are super dope on the battle scene. What's the name of that Netflix special that came out? Did you see
Bad
that?
Rap. It was a good
Bad
documentary.
Rap.
I saw that.
Super dope. Shout out to Bad Rap, dope documentary. Only person you was missing was me in the documentary, but it's all good.
I think I felt like it was missing Southstar. Like for real. I felt like you were the missing piece. Like because everybody else was
But
on
that
there.
was
Jen was
dope.
on there, right? Jen had a little
Yeah.
say in there. I'm like,
But that was
you know
dope. What I thought that was dope about it was dope for me to hear their stories. Like Dumbfounded, Aquafina, and then I don't remember the other two people that they followed, but and this was before Aquafina became a movie star too.
Yeah.
So it was dope for me to hear their stories because it's very similar to my story. So when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I mean that's what it is. Like yep, that's exactly how it is. So shout out to them, man. If they do a Bad Rap too, man. If y'all listening, make sure y'all hit me up, man.
Yes, sir. They gotta have you. They gotta have you on Bad Rap too. I feel like you need like a whole documentary, like the Southstar story or the Smilez Southstar story. Like
That's what this is, man. I'm giving you the story, man. You got the documentary.
yo, I
right
appreciate you. I got the you're right. So like Southstar, man, I appreciate you. I wanted to ask you a little bit about like where you from, like a little history about like where you grew up and stuff, and like how'd you end up in Orlando?
Yeah, so I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. I wasn't really raised there. I left there pretty much when I was like 1, and me and my mom moved to Southern California. So I grew up primarily in Southern California, Los Angeles, till I was roughly around 12 years old. So grew up in L.A., Culver City, Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks, the Valley area, North Hollywood. Went to elementary and pretty much middle school all through in Southern California. And then the Northridge earthquake back in 91, I want to say 91, 92. I was still living in Van Nuys at the time. And Van Nuys is very close to Northridge. And it was a huge earthquake. For those of you that don't know, Google it. You'll see the pictures. I mean, that is literally was the neighborhood, right? So after that, my mom and my stepdad at the time lost their business and decided to pack up and go cross country to Jersey City, New Jersey. So I lived in Jersey City, New Jersey for 2 years, did my freshman year of high school basically up there. And then from there, we packed up and moved down to Orlando, Florida. I've been in Orlando, Florida pretty much ever since 95. So yeah, man, like I grew up on a lot of West Coast hip hop, but, at the same time, I lived in Jersey, which, in early 90s, which was pretty much when New York was crushing it, almost like the king of hip hop, Biggie and Nas and, early Jay-Z and Wu-Tang and, Tribe Called Quest. So I was blessed to be able to kind of be submerged in kind of both cultures. And I think that's why a lot of people, when they hear me or hear my music, they're like, you know, you don't sound like a New York guy, but you don't sound like a Southern guy, but you don't sound like a West Coast guy, but you kind of sound like a West Coast guy and a New York guy and Southern. And
you different.
you know, that's what you. But that's what, you know, because my influences are so wide and from all the different areas that I think it feeds into, you know, my music. So yeah, man. I mean, I call, you know, LA home, you know, as much as I call Orlando home, and Jersey City, you know, that's home as well.
Yeah, I see you Lake Show. Now it makes sense that you should root for the Lakers.
Hey man,
so
listen, man, I've been
congrats
following
to your team.
Thank you, man.
NBA
Listen,
champs, man.
I ain't had a team to root for in the playoffs for 7 years, man. You know, I just been sitting back watching other teams play and win, man. So it was
either the Jaguars or the Lakers, right?
Yeah, and it ain't gonna be the Jaguars. So I'm glad the Lakers won, man. At least I got one winning, man. The funny thing is the Lakers won the championship that night. I think it was a Sunday night. Yeah, last couple weeks ago or last weekend or whatever. And I went to the Jaguar game at the Texans. And I'm like, get blown out, leave. I left a loser. I went to sleep a champ. So thank you to the Lakers. Shout out to the Lakers, man.
Yeah, shout out to all my Cali friends. All my West Coast friends are Lakers fans, so I was happy for them. You know, I mean, I don't have an NBA team since the Sonics became OKC, so I kind of like have this grudge against the NBA. So like, yo, remember Gary Payton to Sean Kemp? That was like one of the illest duos ever. Like that's what made NBA fun. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I want to ask. Let's talk about the music, man. I have some music industry questions, and I just want to tell me some stories about like what age were when you started like recording or rapping, like what influenced you to start making music? Was there like what was you listening to? Like who's your favorite rapper? What made you want to like I want to rap?
So like, I mean, obviously I just grew up listening to hip hop, you know, growing up in LA, you know, I hear a lot of the West Coast stuff, obviously, you know, NWA, you know, Eazy-E, Boys in the Hood was like one of the first songs I heard as a kid. I think it was maybe in 5th grade when I heard that song, and I would just try to learn the words and rap it, not knowing what I'm saying, but because I'm in 5th grade singing Boys in the Hood. Imagine that, right? But no, I just grew up. I've always loved the music, man. I grew up listening to the music and being in the culture, you know, whether it be, you know, the fashion or, you know, like when I was younger, I did graffiti, you know, tagging and stuff. So always just been around the culture. And as far as like being an artist or a rapper, like, you know, that wasn't until like later in life, right? Like in high school, like one of the things I used to do is I was like an avid hip hop music collector. So like, you know, back in the days, like music used to be released on Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, you know, I used to be in the record store or the CD store, and I would buy whatever CDs I could, you know, if I had the money to do it at the time, but I would buy whatever I can, or, you know, if I had to like burn it or, you know, we couldn't even burn it back then as a kid. So, I mean, it was more like
it was either cassettes or
CDs. Or buy the cassettes or the CDs. Right. So, you know, just collecting music and in high school, like, you know, how I used to, the crazy story is how I used to learn the songs, because nowadays you have the lyrics on your Apple Music. You can just read along and you learn the songs, right? Well, back in the days, you didn't have that. And some CDs will come with the lyrics in it,
in the book,
but not all of them. Most of them wouldn't, you know. Usually it was the established artists that can afford to have the extra pages with the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? They got a bigger budget. But how I would learn the words to some of these songs was, you know, one, listening to it over and over again, but then I also would actually write down the words on notepads. And I didn't realize at the time, but what that was actually showing me was like structure, right? Like bars. Song structure and 16 bars and 8-bar hooks and things like that, right? So that's when I started learning that piece of it, not knowing, but I still, again, man, I'm a Chinese, Filipino, German kid in Orlando, Florida. Like, I'm not in New York. I ain't in LA. You know, those are pretty much your towns that you do. You know, if you want to do hip hop, you got to be from. So I had no idea I'd be where I got to. So it wasn't something that I was really like, oh, I'm gonna make it. You know, it was just more like, yeah, I like doing it. And I had a friend of mine that was really into rapping. Like, he would write raps all day. And we used to hang out a lot, and he would stay over at my house sometimes, and every now and then he would just throw on a beat, start writing something, and he'd be like, man, write something, man. And I'd be like, all right, cool, I'll try it. I would just write a rhyme out, I'll read it. It was very very nursery rhyme, elementary type style. And over time, you know, I just got better at it, you know, and When I really said, maybe I can do this was, it was a night at this club on here in Orlando back in the day, Thursday night, Palladium nightclub. It's called Uptown Thursdays, and they had this contest. And at the time, I was actually doing music and marketing and promotion. So I was doing street team promotions for, music and record labels, but also promoting clubs and other whatever's going on, right? Whatever we were promoting at the time. So obviously I'm in the club every night, and my friend wanted to get in the contest, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll ask the DJ that's on the contest because I know him. If he put us in, and my friend was like, yeah, just you should do it with me. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it with you. So we had this little rap that we did to the Method Man Redman Rockweiler beat, and I was like, well, shit, let's just do that one. You know what I'm saying? And so we ended up getting in the contest, going up and doing. I did my verse, he did his verse. We ended up winning. Like winning, like $75 or $100, whatever. Hey, here you go, $100.
Did you guys think he was gonna win? Did y'all feel like he was gonna win, or was like you felt like
it's the first time I ever grabbed the mic and no, like I'm talking like it's a club. I know a lot of the people there because I'm there all the time promoting also. And they coming up to me like, you rap?
That's hilarious.
And they were like, you're dope, and I was like, oh, thanks. I was like, I don't really rap, but I was like, I guess, you know what I'm saying? And but like after that, I was, I kind of just, it became like like I got hooked, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a drug. Like I got hooked, and I started just writing more and really trying to perfect, writing bars and punchlines, and then I would get into like freestyle battles and ciphers, and then I would do contests. There was an underground radio station here in Orlando called 95 Live, pirate radio, super like underground, but everybody in the city knew about it. And they used to do on Saturdays with my homie Crook and Reem. Shout out to Crook and Reem. They used to do like the 420. At 4:20 p.m. they used to do the cipher, and people would call in and just spit verses, right, or bars or freestyle. And I would call in like religiously every week. And the first time I called in, I won again. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my God, they're like, who is this guy? And I'm gonna call again. And then so it just over time, it was just like, like it just naturally built. And then more and more people started looking at me as a rapper, and and I just started slowly taking it more serious, as far as becoming an artist, because, it's a big difference between writing raps and, freestyling and battling and whatnot, and really understanding like, hey, going into a studio and recording this record, like that's the one thing. The first time I was in the studio, I was like, I don't sound anything like I think I sound, but it was an indie label out here back in the days called Maximilian. Big Will, rest in peace, Big Will. But he heard me in a cipher in the bathroom at the nightclub, and he was like, you're dope. He was like, come to the studio, Monday. I want you to check out some stuff. And I went into the studio, and it was, a couple other artists. Shout out Sonny Chulo, Johnny Bravo, Chichiayo, homies for life, man. We went through like that beginning stage together. And literally we went into the studio, and all it is throw on beats, and we just all rapping. And I was just like, yo, this is like cool. So like it was dope. And so I was just around more. And then through time, I just learned, I got more comfortable in the studio. I got more comfortable writing songs, like the first song I think I ever recorded and released was a song called How Many Cats. And it was a very Eminem-ish battle rapper style record. Right. But 95 Live, the underground radio station, played it, showed love. It got a lot of love because it was an underground type record, right? And they used to do like a top 10 local artists countdown, and I think I ended up charting within the top 5 or whatever. So it got a lot of love, and it just became something that I wanted to pursue. And as far as the record deal and all that, man, a lot of that stuff just kind of came just fell in the lap. Because again, man, like as much as I would say, look, I'm a dreamer, and I think a lot of us creatives, we're dreamers, right? Like we see things, we dream about it. We're like, oh man, big goals, big visions, and we'll try to get it. But I'm also a realist at the time where I'm like, dude, I'm an Asian kid from Orlando, Florida. Like, what are the chances of me getting on 106 in Park?
Wow.
Like, probably 1%, so to have gotten there is like, it's still like right, like when I think back at the story, I'm just like, man, it's crazy, like that we actually did that, you know, and we had a record that charted top 40 because, you know, it wasn't something that I really expected, even though it was something I definitely really wanted. And and you know, I worked hard at it, you know, as far as like trying to perfect the craft and write records. But that's kind of how I got into rapping, man. Like it was a having chance that you know, we joined this contest and we won, and then just kept freestyle about, and more people were like, "You're dope." So I just kept doing it, and you know, slowly it just kind of built over time.
And you signed to the same label as like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, right? Like Lou Pearlman's label.
Yeah, so how that happened was, so it's crazy. Another crazy story, but I got crazy stories. But
tell them that's
crazy.
what I'm here for. I want to hear the crazy stories.
It's crazy, like when I think back, and I'm sure you have some of the same ones, right? Because like, you know, how this all started, or how your following all started. It just started off.
It's crazy.
Like, I'm just gonna try this, and then it takes off, or maybe you ran into this person
unexpectedly.
It's super unexpected, right? So again, I'm you know, doing, you know, the stuff with the indie label Maximilian, and you know, anytime there's a show, artists come in town, I'm opening up. You know, if I get on it, if I can get on it, sometimes I couldn't, and you know, how me and Smilez met. We were both basically solo artists in Orlando on the underground scene. You know, anytime there was an event that we could rap at, we would be there. Anytime somebody could open up, you know, he opened up, I opened up, we both opened up, whatever it was. And he seen me perform, I seen him perform, and I remember the first time I met Smilez after he did a show, I just walked. I was like, bro, you dope, like you dope, you know, like you could spit, your presence. Like, I'm looking at him like, yo, you're an artist, you know, like you're dope. Yo, it'd be dope if we did a record together. And we would always see each other at different events and be like, let's do something together, you know, and never do it. Right. And, you know, and you know how that goes. Right. Mm-hmm. So I was living in this apartment complex at the time in Orlando called Park Central. It used to be a basketball gym. The basketball gym every Monday. And again, I'm an avid sports guy. So I grew up playing basketball. So every Monday, Thursday, it was hoop day. We'd be in there hooping for 2-3 hours, and it was like good games. And one of the guys that used to play with us in the gym that lived there is this guy named Dakari. Shout out to Dakari. Dakari actually one of the guys that changed my life, right? So shout out to him. But so he was an in-house producer at Transcon. I did not know this at the time at all. All I knew Dakari for was playing basketball, right? And one day we were in the gym playing basketball, and I was telling someone else a story about this show I did, that we got in a fight and all this stuff. And he was just kind of sitting right there listening. And he was like, and then he looks at me, he goes, yo, he's like, what do you do? Do you produce? And I was like, no, I rap. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. And he's like, for real? You know, like, you know, looking, because of course, like, you know, like, right. And he's like, yeah, spit something. He's like, oh, okay, spit something for me. And I was like, in the middle of the basketball gym while we hooping, when we rap, like, you know, like, all right, cool. So I sat down like right next to him, and I just spit a 16 to him, and he was like, yo, that shit is dope, man. He's like, look, after we're done playing, come with me. I want to show you something, you know. And so we continue playing basketball, and then after, you know, we close up, we leave. He goes, yo, come to the car real quick. So he comes. I remember he drove this little Lexus, like SC 430, the one with the drop top, you know, at the time. And I was like, oh, damn, that's kind of fly.
Big boy,
you know?
toy back then, yeah.
Back then, I was like, that's fly, right? And he was like, yeah, jump in. So I hopped in. He was like, yo, I want to play these beats. He was like, I was like, oh, you produce? He's like, yeah. And so he, you know, as an artist, right, when you're coming up, like you work with whoever you can work with. You know what I'm saying? And you know the difference between like next level type beats and like, this dude just making beats, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, as an artist coming up, you work with whatever you can get. And you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool one out of that pack, you know? So you got to imagine, like, I'm working with, like, you know, certain up-and-coming producers, and we're all kind of grinding together. And it was dope. It was dope beats, but it was nothing like radio, like pop radio, like industry quality sound. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was, I didn't have a producer that could even make that record. It was more underground, like boom bap, hip hop beat. He puts these beats on, man, and the first thing I said to myself, I was like, oh my God, this thing sounds like this song should be on the radio tomorrow. You know? And he was like, yeah, man. And then he played me another one. I was like, yo. He's like, yo, man. He's like, I'm an in-house producer at Transcon. So in Orlando, Florida, everybody that it was in music knew about Transcon. It was a studio nobody can get into because they primarily were industry. So you had to have a label, you book. It wasn't like a local indie artist could just go in there and book it, because they were pretty much always booked for labels and big artist projects. So he would, but Dakari was an in-house producer at Transcon. He had his own room and was there every day. So he was just like, look, man, I want to bring you into the studio. Are you free tomorrow? Come by around 5:00. I have a couple other artists that I'm going to bring in, a kid named Smilez. And I was like, Smilez? I was like, oh, I know Smilez. I was like, me and been talking about doing records together. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, and I got this other kid coming in, and I don't remember the kid's name. So I was like, yeah, cool, man. Like, yo, listen, man, 5:00, I'm there. Wow. At the time, too, I'm working. I had a 9 to 5, but I was like, man, it ain't nothing going to make me miss getting into Transcon and seeing that studio. Just getting in the door. I don't care if I don't ever go back after the ball. I'm gonna go inside tomorrow and see what that's like, and we'll go from there, And so the next day I showed up, and Smilez showed up. The funny story is that the other guy that was supposed to, it was gonna be a third guy, he couldn't make it that day. So it's like a long running joke where we're like, man, that guy could have been Ammed.
Okay, Smilez and Southstar. So y'all was supposed to be a trio instead of a duo. It was supposed to be
a trio, right? So but no disrespect to him, obviously. I mean, listen, man, life is life, and who knows what the reason was, but me and Smilez showed up that day. The beat that he played me in the car that I thought was super dope turned out to be the record called "It's Time" on the Crash the Party album. So if y'all want to go back, it's all streaming. It's the record's called "It's Time." Super dope record. Me and Smilez basically got in there. He was like, the hook was already done. The car was like, here's the hook. He's like, he locked us in there, looped the hook in the 16, and was like, yo, write your verses. And me and Smilez sat in there, first day in there. Smilez had actually worked with Dakari a little bit on some other stuff before, like writing for a couple of artists of his. So he had been there before, but this is my first time. And I'm like, man, it's a nice studio, man. I'm talking like nice studio. I'm talking like chef cooking dinner for us. Like refrigerator full with soda, drinks, whatever you need. If you need something from the store, it's a runner for you that can go grab it for you. Just, hey, can you run to 7-Eleven? Yeah, no problem. Whatever you got to do, just be creative.
Wow.
So I got spoiled. What I'm saying, after that first day, man. And we basically knocked that record out in like a couple real super quick. Like I wrote my verse quick, he wrote his verse quick. Then we had to do the third verse, knocked it out. Dakari went to another room and was making beats. He came back, was like, yo, listen to this beat I made. And dope. He's like, all right, come on, let's write to it. I'm like, right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just go, okay, cool. But like, for the reason I tell this story like this is because for those of y'all that are listening, man, anything in life, anything, it's not just music, it's whatever, right? It's all about opportunity, right? And opportunity doesn't always come, but when it comes, you got to recognize it and you got to take advantage of it because it may not come again. And I tell this story this way is because, if I couldn't show up that day, right, there may not ever been a Smilez in Southstar.
Right.
It's
inspiring. Go ahead. Sorry.
And not even that, but if I wasn't willing to just be, remember at that time I'm still working a 9 to 5, so I'm working early in the morning, get off at like 4 or 5, go right to the studio. We in the studio at like 2, 3 in the morning. I got to get up and work the next day. Smilez working a 9 to 5 at the time too, but we just both like whatever we got to do, and we loved it. We enjoyed it, so it wasn't tiring for it wasn't like oh, I got to go to the studio and do this. You know what I mean? It was like, I can't wait to go do this. This is fun, and that first meeting and that first night, 2 records turned into, the next thing you know, man, me and Smilez was in there almost every day, at least 5 days a week, for like 3 months. And it turned out to be the Crash the Party album, man, which was our debut album that, again, it may not be a hit album to standards. Shout out to Jen, man. Jen posted his anniversary for 16-year anniversary for his album.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. And I remember reading his caption. I'm like, man, I think the same way as this kid. I'm telling you, me and Jen are like the same, but he was like, it may not be a hit album or a success to some people's standards, but it was a success for him. And that's what Crash the Party is to me. 300 close to 300,000 people went out and bought that album, man. And you know, a kid for an Asian kid from Orlando, Florida, doing rap music, you know, that's amazing.
That's yo. A lot of us can only dream. Like, Tell Me was on that album, right?
Tell Me, yeah, and Tell Me
So
was
you get the top 40. So you was on the Billboard. So it's like, most of us can't even have a hit record, or like, you know, what I mean, we might not even get SoundCloud success. We can't even get the streams we want. So for you to like do that in that era, it was even harder to get signed back then. You know, you actually have to like. Some people don't even get the demos. You know, like snail mail, cassettes, and all that. That's back in the day, right? But I think your story is freaking amazing because like you know, you were at the right place, the right time. Like if you didn't play basketball that day, there wouldn't be a Smilez Southstar. You would never met Dakari. So did you feel that it was a blessing? Do you believe like things happen for a reason? Because I believe in that. I believe in that.
No, I believe everything in life happens for a reason. And you know, as I got older, I definitely lived by that a little more. And what I mean by that is, you know, even when something negative happens to me, I don't dwell on it too much, you know, because one, you know, or I try not to get angry or, you know, frustrated or stressed, you know, and I tell a lot of people the same thing, you know, a lot of my close people, I tell them like, man, you know, there's no reason to stress about it, man. Like at the end of the day, just, you know, you deal with it, you know, it's life, right? Like the thing is, you know, I've learned as I got older though. Now, granted, you know, 21, 22-year-old me, I'll be sitting there like, what the fuck, man? This is some bullshit. And I can't believe this shit is happening. This should not be happening. Yeah. And then you like a whole day, like just pissed. But then you realize you just wasted a whole day and nothing changed. It's the same result, right? So I learned that, I think, as I got older. So now I'm definitely a little more calm. But I think everything happens in life for a reason, man. You know, the good for sure. The good's happening to you because you probably earned it and you deserve that for sure. And then, you know, the bad happens to you because you can deal with it, you know? So, yeah, man, it's crazy. Like when I really think about the story, because it's even crazier that me and Smilez became a group, because me and Smilez literally were solo artists in Orlando. And we literally for probably a good 6 months to 9 months to 12 months talked about, hey, we need to get in the studio and do a record. The only thing we did before we got in the studio was when, shout out to DJ Eakin, DJ out in Tampa, he got us together for his mixtape, and it was me, him, and his brother Apollo. We did a freestyle over a freestyle. We wrote like verses over the Change the Game Jay-Z beat, because he was like he wanted to get me, he wanted to get Smilez, and he wanted to put his brother because he don't, you know, he was like, y'all dope. So that was the one time we recorded something together before we actually got in the studio and do a song. But to actually do a song, me and Smilez been talking about it for like so long. But again, you got to remember, you know, back in those days, it wasn't a lot of home studio. Like it was, you know, the equipment wasn't as cheap as it was back in the days,
we didn't have like, you know, we didn't have like a Mac and just Logic.
Nah, man, you couldn't just get,
you gotta use ADAT, you gotta use the tapes.
You had to really record. I mean, the first time I ever recorded was on ADAT. Shout out to Lou, engineer Lou, and actually Millennium 3 Studios in Orlando, which is where I'll be shooting my Conversations show out of.
That's what's up.
Lou is the owner. And when I ran into Lou at Millennium 3, I was like, bro, you're the first person that ever recorded me for a song. And we recorded on ADAT. You know, and
this is not Lou Pearlman, right? This is a different Lou?
No, this is a different Lou. You know, but yeah, man, it's just crazy. And that's why, like, you know, I tell my story, and when I talk to the, you know, anybody that I talk to, just, you know, when I the one thing I always say, man, listen, man, you know, any opportunity that presents itself, take advantage of it, because it's not always available, and it's not guaranteed to come back to you. And you know, me and Smilez took advantage of that day for us to get in the studio, and it was definitely meant to be. Our chemistry was great. It worked out well because we both knew each other, and we both been wanting to do records together, and I already knew how he kind of sounded. He's already knew how I kind of sounded, and it worked well, man. And like I said, it turned into, you know, 3 months of us recording almost every day together, and Smilez Southstar Crash the Party album, and, you know, Tell Me was part of that, man, and Tell Me was,
and that was your second single, man. Right? Tell Me was the second single. Because I always thought it was the first, but like then I remember that Who Wants This? Who Wants This? I didn't know that came before Tell Me, because like Tell Me is the one that stuck because it was like sing-songy, and then, you know, it was like something that just stuck in your head.
Tell Me was a hit. You know, Who Wants This was our first single. Who Wants This got us the deal also. So
that's what's up.
Who Wants This was like the third or fourth song that me and Smilez recorded. And for those of you that are creative and are artists and record, you know that the more and more you work together with someone, the more and more you create, the more chemistry you build, the more sonically and everything starts sounding better. And Tell Me was like the second or third last song we recorded, right? But Who Wants This was our first single, man. And Who Wants This was a record that at the time, like I told you, I was doing street team promotions. So the guys that ended up managing me, shout out to Al and Gil, Street Dwellers. Those were the guys that were working with me in marketing promotions. Like I worked with them for their company. You know what I mean? And then the funny thing is, the only reason I got into that is because I was like, wait, if I hand out flyers at the end of the night or put flyers at the cards, I can get in all the clubs for free and skip the line. Cool, I'll do that. You know, like it was crazy. But that was the only reason I got into it. But what that, again, right? Things happen for a reason. So I do it because that's what I wanted to do it for. But at the same time, what I ended up learning was how to market and promote records, because we are literally handing records to DJs like, hey, I need you to spin this for me. Hey, I need you to spin this. And at the same time, I'm meeting everybody because I have to bring the records to the DJs, you know. So I'm meeting all the industry people. I'm going up to the radio station, dropping stuff off. So I learned a lot about the marketing promotion side of the game doing that. So Who Wants This being our first single, it was like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Who Wants This was probably like the third song we recorded. So I think it was a song we did on the second day. And Dakari, every time we would record a record, the first place he would go to test it out was the strip club. It was a strip club right down the street from the studio. He was like, I'm going to go take a strip club tonight. DJ knows me. He'll play it, test it out, see how it sounds. So he tested it out. He came in and said, he's like, this record's the one. So it was a reggae vibe, you know, real dope. It was a dope record, like super dope. It's a good song.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, super dope record. And so what he did is, and this is where the Lou Pearlman and the Transcon thing came in, because really at this time, it's just me and Smilez recording songs with Dakari. Dakari is the in-house producer at Transcon, but we not signed to Transcon. We don't have no affiliation with nobody at the time, right? We're just going to the studio recording. So this is where kind of Transcon came into play, is Dakari went to Lou and said, look, man, I got this group. They got a pretty dope little record. I think we, you know, kind of a situation, right? Like Lou didn't do hip hop.
Right.
Excuse me, Lou did pop. Lou did boy bands. That's what he knew.
For those that didn't know, Lou Pearlman, just real quick, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, LFO, huge. One of the biggest boy band, O-Town.
You know, Making the Band, the original Making the Band that was on ABC was him.
With O-Town, yeah.
So, Lou didn't do hip hop, but Dakari went to Lou and sold it, and Lou invested a little bit of money to help us press up vinyls for the record, because back then it wasn't no Serato. If you wanted DJs to play the record, you better bring them the vinyl.
Old school, with the needle and everything, yeah.
So we white labeled the Who Wants This record, pressed up some white label vinyl, and we started servicing it to everybody. And of course, through relationships and everything, we were starting to get DJs that, I mean, we couldn't get DJs to at least spin the record, you know what I mean? Because that's just off of ask, like, hey, can you play the record? So, and back in those days, you can kind of go to the DJ like, hey, on radio, and be like, hey, can you give me a spin on that record? And they would, yeah, I can get you that one, you know. So we started getting some spins, but our homie 007, who ended up being our tour DJ, shout out my brother 007. So he was on the radio station at Fort Myers at the time, and he went to the PD and was like, "Yo, these are my homies from Orlando. They got a record that's pretty dope. It's kind of reggae vibe. It's cool. You okay with me playing?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he let him start playing in mix show, and the PD, Bo Matthews, shout out to Bo Matthews, because he's another key player in this whole thing. Bo was like, "Yo, I like the record. It's dope. See if they want to come down and open up for Kaya for our erotic exotic ball."
My bike. That Kaya?
Yeah, that Kaya.
Yo, she's a legend to me too. Yeah. I love that record. Yo, the nastiest record ever. Nastier than WAP will ever be.
She's from Florida too, so shout out to Kaya.
Kaya.
Yeah, actually, WAP is probably the new version of that, right? Yeah, that's crazy. Now that I think about it, that's actually that was actually a smart play.
Kaya was nasty.
Shout out. Shout out to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Shout out to Ayo, the producer who produced that record too, man. He's from Orlando, Florida, man.
Oh,
he
so
produced WAP.
it's your people. That's what's up, man.
So shout out to him too, man. But yeah, that's crazy now that you put that together because I'm like, man, that is like the new My Neck, My Back WAP.
Yeah, because people was like saying WAP is like really, really bad. Like, yo, we grew up on like, you ain't gotta say too much from the look at your eyes. I can tell you wanna fuck. Remember that? Come on, we our ears it's been like we've done heard everything.
Nah, but hip hop is like that. I mean, Uncle Luke, you know what I'm saying? 2 Live Crew, you know,
yeah, 2 Live Crew.
I mean, come on.
They're the reason there was a parental advisory, right?
Yeah,
because of 2 Live Crew. Shout out to them.
The reason. Yeah.
And also, isn't that one of the members Asian too?
And the funny thing, one of the members is Asian. The funny thing is, you know, what's funny about that is that all those people are from Florida. So shout out to Luke and Kaya and all of them. And they all from Florida.
Wow, Florida got some historians. Y'all got a lot of musical historians from here. Shout out to Florida. Yo, give Florida its damn respect, yo.
You know, the PD was like, yo, come out, open up for Kaya for this erotic exotic ball. So we was like, yeah, cool, whatever. We do whatever. At the time, we do whatever show. So we go out there, we just hang out, have a good time. We drinking with the PD at the bar. We do the show. We you know, the show actually went really well, rocked it. And the PD after was like, yo, man, you guys are cool, man. Like, yo, and you guys are dope. He's like, yo, after this, let's go back to the radio station. I'm gonna play your song back to back on the radio. And I'm like, and we like just back to like, you just gonna play it like 25 times in a row like that. Like, you can do that? Like, okay, cool, you know. And you gotta remember, back in those days, man, getting played on the radio was a big deal.
Hell yeah.
Because it was not easy to get, you know, like a dream come true. Like to hear you on the radio, like in a car, like, oh shit, that's crazy, right?
Wow.
So we literally went back to the station and he was like, he just put the song on repeat and we was in the station drinking, hanging out, and the song just playing on repeat, right? And again, back to 007, my brother for life, Bo Matthews, brother for life, love you. Bo was the PD. Bo is actually the one that ended up getting us the record deal with Artistdirect. And
so
how that happened
is the name of the label?
The label that we ended up signing to. So Mark Benish, rest in peace, Mark Benish, he was the A&R that ended up signing us. Mm-hmm. He originally was at Universal, and Bo reached out to Mark and was like, I got this group, dope song, you know, got a dope record that's doing well. You should check them out. And Mark was listening to our stuff and he was like, yo, I like them. And he was at Universal at the time. So at first we thought that we were going to sign a Universal, but Mark said, you know, give it a little bit. I have a new situation coming up where I think there'll be more priority at with this new company called Artistdirect. And then he ended up leaving Universal, going to Artistdirect, signing us to Artistdirect. And from there, the rest is history, man. I mean, you know, from there we had the deal and Crash the Party came out, and you know, when Tell Me came out, the rest was history, man.
Yeah. So Tell Me, the single came out, you was all over MTV, Jams, BET, all that. Like, how did that change your life? How did you feel? Like, did you feel like you're, oh shit, I made it? Is that your I made it moment, or
yeah, the crazy thing with Tell Me is the way the record like took off and how it kind of just happened. And, you know, from my perspective, just seeing like everything change. You know, like to me, it was always like, I was like, wow, that's weird. Like TV's an animal, you know, like television is an animal. Like you get on television, it's like your world flips upside down overnight, you know? But it was a blessing, man. I mean, like, so at the time, again, we had the first single was Who Wants This, right? You know, I tell you all the story about how we got to deal with it. And it was the first single. We went out to LA, shot this super dope video, green screen, special effects. We had a stunt coordinator come out. He was like, you know, we need you to do this. I was like, nah, I do all my own stunts, man. Let's go. You know, like me and Smilez, like, we doing them all, man. We don't need no stunt doubles. They were ready to, I mean, you talking, they had stunt doubles ready to, you know, because they don't want, you know, for them, it's like, they don't want the talent getting hurt. You know, we need you for the, you know, I'm like, nah, let's do it. We good, you know. So, you know, so we going around the country. We were touring with Beanie Man. We toured with Beanie Man for 2 months, basically all around the States and Canada, and promoting this Who Wants This record. Just kind of, that was our initial introduction to the game. The label signed us, started sending out the Who Wants This record to all the DJs at radio stations around the country, and they put us on the road with Beanie Man. And so we were touring with Beanie Man for like 2 months. I remember our first show was in Newark, New Jersey. I always tell this story because it was like, it's crazy to know where it went from that first day to where it ended up, where the tour ended, right? Because that first show was in Newark, New Jersey, in this community center right in the middle of Newark, New Jersey. and we were opening up for Beanie Man. So Beanie Man's a reggae act. We're like a hip hop act, totally not reggae, right? Mm-hmm. And nobody knew who the hell we were at the time. So the show starts, we come on. Everybody looking at us like, who the hell is this Asian guy and this black guy? You know, Newark, New Jersey. You know what I mean? Like, you know, at a reggae concert at a community center. Imagine that. Not at a concert hall, not at
MetLife
arena,
Stadium.
not at nothing like that. It's a community center in the middle of Newark, New Jersey, and we come on, and all I could think, I told Smilez, I said, "You listen, man, let's just go on. Let's do our 3 songs. Let's get off. Make sure we don't get hit with nothing. They don't boo us too hard." And we'll call it a day, you know, and we go do the show. We left, you know, a couple people clapped. We didn't get nothing thrown at us. Nobody booed. Just a couple people clapped. They were probably still shocked at who the hell was on stage. And we walk off, and Beanie Man is right there. I didn't even see him because I was just like, man, let's get off, man. Let's just go. Let's get to this. Let's go to the hotel. Let's go to the next city. Let's go, right? Mm-hmm. And Beanie Man gets on the mic and he goes, "Make some noise for Smilez Southstar." And to me, that I was like, holy shit, did Beanie Man just shout us out? Like, because we didn't even get to meet Beanie yet. You know, like this was like the first show. So we just went on, we didn't even meet Beanie yet. And and once he said that, I was like, yo, we got to stay and watch the show. We got to stay and watch the show and say what's up to Beanie after. Because at the time, we still, you know, brand new to the game. That's Beanie's the king. You know what I'm saying? The golden dance hall. If you like hip hop, you like reggae, you like dance hall, you like reggae, you grew up on that. So Beanie Man, Bounty Kill, like those guys, you know. And we on tour with Beanie, which I'm already a fan of Beanie. So after we hung out, we met, you know, we kicked it with everybody, and the tour goes. And the crazy thing is, as you're going, you know, we're still promoting this Who Wants This record. And I remember at one point back to Philly, crazy thing is we're in Philly. And I remember at one time we were driving, I think we were in Philly because we went to the radio station. And at the time, the radio station didn't want to do an interview with us on the air. They were just like, come through, meet the PD, say what's up, do some drops, meet the DJs, hey, and call it a day. But you could tell, like, it wasn't like they were like, oh my God, I can't believe, you know, let's get Smilez Southstar on the air, show mad love, right? They weren't ready to show that kind of love yet. So I remember telling my manager Al at the time, I was like, Al, man, we need to get to this Tell Me record. And he was like, hold on, man, you know, we got this dope video that they spent big money on with all these effects. You know, we got to let the record work. And I was like, all right. I was like, no, I'm with you. That's cool. Let's let the record work. I was like, but I think Tell Me is a dope record. I think that record will work, right? And then what happened was the label ended up, you know, because Who Wants This did well at Mix Show. It just didn't really start charting, you know, because back then it's like, how's it moving? Is it charting? And then you can see the spins. It's like it hits like a kind of like a peak where you're like, oh, it's not going over that. It's like stocks. If any of y'all invest in stocks, you know there's that. Hey, are we gonna push through this?
That ceiling,
you know, is it gonna push through and make the run or not, right? And that's kind of how it was with the Who Wants This record. And the label, the next thing you know, I guess they started just sending out like the Tell Me record to DJs and, you know, just trying to get a reaction. And the next thing you know, they're like, we got to shoot the video for Tell Me. This thing is like taking off here on that radio, and it's starting to get spins, and the traction is starting to go. We got to shoot a video for Tell Me. And I'm like, okay, you know, and so we shoot the video. So we said, look, man, the first video we had to shoot in LA. We had no choice. The second video was like, look, man, is there any way we can shoot in our hometown of Orlando? Because I think it would be dope just to bring it back home. So when you see the video Tell Me, it's at Universal Studios. The only reason it's at Universal is because it was the one place you can get all those different types of scenes, and it's in one spot. The budget for the second video was not as big as the budget for the first video, you know, because the first record didn't work as well as we thought it was going to work, right?
Right.
And so we get ready to shoot this video for Tell Me, man. And the crazy story about the Tell Me video shoot, you know, it was a 1-day shoot where Who Wants This was like a 2 to 3 day shoot. This was a 1-day shoot at Universal Studios. That morning of the shoot, you know, and this is to tell you about how like I was still, you know, regular Joe back then, man. I mean, you talking about I had a record that was going on radio, I had a record deal, you know, a record playing on BET, Rap City, a video. And that morning of the Tell Me video shoot, my car actually got repoed.
Oh shit!
That day because I couldn't make the payments, you know. And so I woke up to go to the video shoot that morning. I'm like, where the fuck is my car? I was like, how the hell am I get to this video shoot? Shit, this is pre-Uber. You know, I was Uber nowadays. So I had to wake up. I had a roommate at the time. Woke up my roommate. Shout out to my boy Eric. And I was like, hey man, I think they repoed my car, but I got to get to this video shoot. Can you drop me off at Universal? And he's like, oh, okay, man. So he dropped me off at Universal. I go to this video shoot, have to do this whole shoot all happy, hey. And the whole time I'm like, bro, they took my car.
That's crazy story, man.
So I'm shooting this whole video like, ooh, love, you know, like doing all, and I'm like, no, I don't have a car. Like, it's crazy. Repo my shit. I can't even think about it right now because I'm doing a video shoot, right?
Wow.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's crazy. Like, you know, again, I told you Beanie Man's tour was 2 months, you know, 2 months into the tour, like, you know, you're talking like 45 days in or whatever, like Tell Me Records starting to take off at radio. And now you're starting to see like the reaction change from when we get on stage, you know, because remember the first show in Newark, New Jersey, we go on stage, everybody's like, who the hell are these guys? And why are they opening up for Beanie Man? Because they don't do no reggae, right? To us coming out and they like, oh my God, that's so, you know, and Tell Me was a blessing, man. Tell Me definitely, you know, Tell Me changed my life. You know, my life is totally different from probably what it would be if it wasn't for that record, man. So
classic. Man, it's like timeless, man. Like every time I hear it, I still feel that vibe. I still feel like the early 2000s. Like aside from the 90s, the early 2000s, like one of my favorite eras too. It's like I wasn't even mad that the 2000s would change a little. A turning point from 90, like I think R&B started to fade away, kind of. I think after 112 was Jagged Edge, probably the last of real R&B. So it was like kind of. I actually liked this whole T-Pain era. The whole were you like you're before T-Pain, right?
Yeah.
He's Florida too, so it was like.
But
I actually liked the change.
Man.
I like that crossover. I felt like you guys kind of contributed to it too, like. The way that you guys rapped were different. Like you had like a kind of a melodic flow, and then you just kind of like the way you guys, your cadence, your breath control is different. You know what I mean? Like when I felt like killing myself, it kept me alive. So much pride. Finish that line. What'd you say? Yo, it's like
I'm like shit. I don't even remember. Fuck, what
it's like one of those songs you go karaoke with your family. You know what I mean? It's a karaoke.
Had to let it go, even though it hurt inside.
You know what I mean?
Now I had to turn these rhymes.
Yeah.
But nah, man. I mean, you know, listen, man. I tell people I was like, you know, I was blessed to be doing music in a time where I feel like it was like the golden era of hip hop. Yes. You know, where it was kind of in between, where you know, early 90s.
It's kind of a good shift.
Well, the thing was, early 90s hip hop was dope and it was big, but it wasn't very accepted mainstream. You know, people still looked at it as a negative thing. You know, like, oh, that gangster rap. Oh, why are you listening to that rap music, right? Yeah, and then now, today, it's so accepted.
It's labeled as pop now. It's just in the pop category now. Yeah,
we were in that in between phase where it was kind of like
urban R&B.
part of maybe making it popular, you know, and you know, I'm blessed, man. I mean, because it was some great music at the time, man. You know, guys like, you know, I mean, shit, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, you know, Ja Rule.
Ja Rule used that same sample too. Mesmerized, right?
But that's all right.
Yeah, were you guys mad? How'd you guys feel when I love it? Was it that song or your smile,
that one.
Eyes, I love it when you're with me, baby.
Yeah, that was it.
It was cool. It was cool. I liked it, but I was like, damn, I've heard that somewhere before. Like that's Smilez Southstar. What you mean?
Ja Rule, you know, it wasn't like. So the thing was, like, I know a lot of people try to make it like it was a beef. It was like, because I didn't really look at it as a beef. I was just like, man, they use
more of a clearance thing, like a sample that people use, like flip all the time. Yeah,
you know, but but Ja Rule cost us a lot of money for sure because Ja Rule heard us at pop radio. You know, Ja Rule was the biggest artist at the time. So when Tell Me was taking off and it was getting ready to go to pop level status, like pop radio was going to get ready to take it and go with it, which is how you get the chart. You know, you start moving up the chart. So people that don't understand radio and formats, there's urban radio, there's crossover rhythmic, and then there's pop. So urban is usually where most, you know, is urban.
Hip hop,
so
R&B.
Usually hip hop, R&B, right? And then crossover rhythmic is kind of when those hip hop R&B songs start crossing over a little bit, right? Become crossover records, and then pop is when the crossover record becomes a pop record, you know, and usually that's top 40. And then they take it to like top 10, right? So we were starting to get pop radio because Tell Me, I think, peaked at 27 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is super high, super dope. That's a blessing in itself. But what happened was a lot of times, like I remember we went to a meeting at Z100 in New York. You're in New York, so that's the number one pop station basically in the country. And I remember we went there, had a meeting with them, and they told us straight up, they were like, "Yo, man, like you guys have a dope song, like a dope record. The problem we have is we have two songs that sound similar, and we can't put both of them on the station, put in rotation because it's the same song basically to us, And Ja Rule, unfortunately, is the hottest artist in the game at the time, so that's where he hurt us a little bit, and definitely cost us some money for sure. But I mean, listen, man, like I said, man, we go back to where we talked about things happen for a reason, man. Everything happens for a reason. Things happen the way they're supposed to, and it is what it is.
Or were you a fan of Ja Rule? I thought he was dope at the time. He had a lot of hits. That was his couple year run and everything. I think he started that sing rap trend, kind of that with the rap speed, deep voice, but he sing, but he rap, like the melodic. I feel like he's one of the pioneers of that sing rap. And then 50 Cent beat him at his own game, and just kind of like they started beefing, and then it's like it was fun to watch, but it's like also like damn. Like, I don't have nothing bad to say about Ja Rule. I consider him a legend. Like, yo, he had a lot of hit records. A lot of people want to talk smack about Ja, but like, yo, he had hits.
Ja did his thing at the time, man. Definitely he made some money. And he took some more money.
Man. So like the success of Tell Me, when did you guys start seeing any type of funds? Did you ever get your car back from the repo man?
I never got that car back, man, because that was it. But bought a new car after that. Nah, man. I mean, when Tell Me started taking off, obviously the shows started coming in. We definitely started touring, did a lot of shows. And we started getting paid for it, and the crazy thing is, not just the money for the shows. And, sometimes, I mean, you go on, you do like a 30-minute set and you walk up and you're like, they really just pay me all this money to do that? Because I would have did that for free back in the day, Like,
right.
You would have gave me 30 pounds. I'm like, I'll rap for free.
So the bulk of the money is from show money, right? When people are in the
shows,
industry,
and then you'll have royalty money comes later though. It just takes a little time for the royalty money to come through. But the show money is instant. It's you try to go get that quick, and then sponsorships or any other thing you can do. But one of the craziest thing, one of the biggest things that told me, I was like, man, we got a hit record. And we're a little more successful now than we were, is because when we first started touring with Beanie Man, right, they would just get 2 rooms for us, 2 hotel rooms, and everybody had to fit. So it was manager, sound man, DJ, me, Smilez, right, 2 rooms, right.
Right.
We'd figure it out. It's cool. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like, shoot, we can sleep 6 in a room. I don't care. I'm good with it.
I'll sleep on the floor. Yeah, I mean.
Once Tell Me takes off, we're like, I need my own room. Smilez needs his own room. So needs his own room. We have 5 rooms, and I'm like, cool. And then now me and Smilez have our own room. So I'm like, dude, we went from sleeping like 3-4 people in a room to like, we have our own room. Like, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but those are the little wins that, like on tour, I was like, yo, hell yeah, man. Have my own room, have my own space and chill, man. That's cool, man. But it was dope, man. We did a lot of TV too. So it was a blessing, man. It was dope.
What was like some of your most memorable like maybe TV appearances, or have you met any like celebrities that you really didn't think you'd ever meet?
So TV wise, I think, some of the dope stuff that we've done and that are legendary, that to me, I still can't believe we did. We did Conan O'Brien. That was cool. We did Jimmy Kimmel. We did Jimmy Kimmel actually twice. We were on Jimmy Kimmel's premiere week.
Wow.
We did a skit with Snoop and Jimmy. Meeting Snoop Dogg was definitely, one of the dopest things that dopest artist I ever met, just because I grew up listening to him. Like, one of the first raps I think I learned rapping, I used to always act with 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg,
Yeah.
Hold on.
You met that was Death Row Snoop, or was it No Limit Snoop?
Death Row Snoop.
So Snoop Dogg, he was mad chill in real life.
Snoop is super cool, man. So Snoop Dogg was dope to meet him. Again, someone I grew up, obviously listening to and following. But yeah, we did the Jimmy Kimmel premiere week with him, man. And I remember after the show, we were all in the back, and I kind of like the dressing room or the green room, all kind of hanging out. You know, we met Daz. You know, obviously Daz from Dog Pound, Daz Dillon.
Yeah.
You know, we all kind of hanging out back there. And Snoop walks in, and he looks at me and smiles and goes, hold up. Y'all the boys that sing that stop, look, listen to my heartbeat, baby. He's like, I like y'all shit, man. I fuck with that shit. You know how Snoop be real true and chill, right? But the thing is, he didn't even say. I was like, we don't sing that song, but yeah.
He sang the Shanties version.
The sample. No, he sang the sample. He sang the Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross version because you know that's the sample. I was like, yeah. He's like, yo, I fuck with y'all, man, and you know that was dope. Like and the funny thing about Jimmy Kimmel, we did the premiere week. And then they had us, after we did the premiere week and Tell Me Take Off, they had us come back and actually be the musical act on the show. So we did like a little skit for the show, and then they brought us back to be musical guests. So I thought that was dope because it's almost like initially they was like, they're not big enough to be the guest, the musical guest.
Right.
And then a couple months later, like, oh, now they're big enough to be the musical guest.
That's dope.
But you know, we did a lot of TV, man. 106 in Park was dope. You know, being on the couch with the original OG, Free and AJ. Free and AJ, the original crew. That was dope. We did that. We went back. We did Freestyle Friday judging, and we went back and did, you know, obviously the musical act performing the song. I think it was number 5 or 4 on the countdown at the time when we performed it there, and doing the interviews, sitting on the couch. That was cool. We did Rap City.
He's in New York a lot,
man,
filming with appearances. That's what's up.
All the time, man. Rap City, The Basement was legendary. Y'all can actually see that freestyle on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm about to actually
Rap City.
binge watch. Like I might even listen to the Crash the Party album. I want to see
that.
Yeah. I want to see what else there was. Like, I just know there was 2 singles, so it's like, you know, for the people that's, you know, that maybe, you know, grew up on your music and stuff, like they're probably curious now too. Yeah, and I think it's dope for you, you know, that we actually get to talk about it, about a little bit about the music industry and stuff like that, and your experiences and just taking opportunity, man. Like one little basketball game at the gym could change your life, man. So if you guys have an opportunity, man, make sure you guys recognize it and just, you know, take that opportunity. You never know what's gonna happen, man. And Southstar is like you know, it's an example. You know what I mean? So it's like, like for like anyone that's trying to get a record deal, what advice would you give them? Yeah,
you know, I think at the end of the day, I mean, the industry is definitely different now than it was, you know, early 2000s, right? Like everything's different. You know, radio's different. Everything's different. You know, back then, you almost needed the record deal. Now you don't technically need the record deal. You know, but at the same time, I think, you know, the one thing I tell everybody is, you know, some people will preach, you know, one or the other, right? It's like, should you sign a deal with a major label? Yeah, sign a deal with a major label. Or no, I'm indie. No, you should stay indie. Indie's the way. Indie independent's the way, right? And it's like, you know, it's just understanding what each side can do. Because I feel like nowadays, you know, back in the days, signing a record deal meant you now made it. Now you can get your music out to the masses because you needed a record deal to do that. You know, you needed a record deal to shoot a video. You know, like when I think back about Who Wants This and Tell Me, Who Wants This' video budget was $300,000. Tell Me was $150,000. You know, Now That You're Gone was $150,000. Those were the budgets for those videos. You know what I mean? Where now, you know, if I had $300,000, I mean, I could probably get features, shoot a video. You know, because those videos, you know, you can shoot a really good video for like 10 grand. You know, if you have the right, you know, director, cameraman, the connections, you know, it's some of the things you got to pay for, like, you know, if you got to pay for the permit or whatever. But, you know, honestly, you know, the equipment is so much better nowadays that you can shoot these videos a lot cheaper because you can use it DSLR. You know, they got 4K cameras you can rent, Sony Red cameras you can rent for the day.
Yes, sir.
You know, back then we're shooting 35 millimeter film. It's gonna cost a little more, right? So, you know, the opportunity, so like the opportunities and the platforms are there, man. You know, so I look at it nowadays as, if you do, you know, a record deal nowadays, to me is more of a partnership. It's you know, what can you do for me that I can't do for myself,
right? And
how much is that going to benefit me? You know, and so the analogy that I usually tell a lot of artists or people that I consult or manage, or just people that I might have conversations with, because I'm the type that I consult everybody when people ask me. You know, you don't have to be my artist or my anything. But the thing I tell people is like, look, man, like the way I look at the record deals or things like that, anything like that of nature nowadays is I look at where you're at now. And if I get into this contract or partnership, you know, where will I be? And since they're taking X amount of percentage, where does that put me? And is that better than where I am now? You know, so I'll give you an example. Like there's a lot of people that, you know, with the YouTubes and stuff, they did with a lot of Asian American artists, man. A lot of Asian American artists out there doing well. They're making a living, you know, where they don't have to go work a job. You know, they're making a living off of music, right? So, you know, maybe you're making $100 grand a year off of music because of YouTube or shows or, you know, streaming and, you know, and that's good. That's good money. You know, as an independent artist, you know, that's good money. You know, that's, you know, if you make 50 grand a year as an independent artist, that's good money. You know, that's like a full-time job, right? Like some people, right? So let's say you're making 100 grand a year as an independent artist and you're good with that and everything is paid. But a label comes and says, look, man, I want to do this partner. I want to sign you. You know, I want 50% of you. All right. Well, what are you going to do for me? Because how much money we going to make it will be my question, right? It'd be like, all right, well, if we're going to make 200 grand and you take half and I get half, I'm at 100 grand. I'm at the same place I'm at now. That's not a good deal. That doesn't do anything for me. Right now, if I sign with you and you like, look, we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to bring your revenue up to $1 million and you taking half and I get half. Well, now my half is 500,000. That's 5 times more than I'm making now. That sounds like a good deal for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, I mean, those are the things. I think that's the thing nowadays is, you know, where before record deals were, oh, like a dream. I got one. Now I can go. Now it's more like, oh, they want to go in business together. You know, so that's why it's important to learn the business nowadays too, though. But that also means that as an independent artist or like an up and coming artist, you have to learn more. You also have to be able to do more on your own, you know, and that's kind of the gift and the curse, right? Like, because back in the days, you know, as an artist, I can just focus on just doing music and I can let everybody else handle what they, you know, all the other pieces handle. Nowadays, it's almost like you have to know how to do everything before that label even comes to you. So you got to shoot videos, you got to make videos, you got to build a following, you got to do all of that, you know, like you got to almost do everything. And then the label comes and says, oh, well, you figured that out. Hey, let's go into this partnership together. And then it's like, okay, well, how can you take what I'm doing to the next level? Because I'm not going to sign with you if you're only going to make me X amount of dollars. I'm only going to sign with you if you're going to take me to this level, you know? And I think that's the way, you know, if artists are looking at that and they approach it like that, you know, that's what the key is understanding that, you know, if you sign a deal or if you get into, if you want to make money off of music, you are now in the music business. It's not just about you being a rapper, an artist anymore. The creativity is very little. The percentage of what you're doing from the music standpoint is this. Now you need to learn this because that's what's going to make you successful.
So pretty much financial literacy, right?
Financial literacy, man. You know, that's a big thing for me, man. You know, I wish I was taught that at a younger age, but you know, I think that's important for kids to learn, man. You know, I read something today. Actually, it's funny. I read something on Instagram today where Little Baby said, and I don't know if it's again, you know, I can only take it for what I see, right? But Little Baby had mentioned something like where he's like, man, I just saved my money, man. I watch all these other people buy all this stuff, stunt, do all these things, and it all looks fun. He's like, but they all gonna go broke. I'd rather save my money.
That's smart.
You know? So super smart, man. I mean, you know, like the thing, financial literacy is actually a big thing for me because I've learned a lot about finances over the years. And if I would have understood that at an earlier age, I'd probably be in a much better position, you know, overall. Probably would have had some Apple stock when it was like $2 a share back in like 2000. But you know, it's learning how, if you understood how money works, you'll learn how to make more money. You know, like assets can leverage assets, you know, like money can leverage money, you know, money leverage, you know, two things to me that are the most important things that anybody can learn when it comes to finances. And if y'all listening, you know, one, credit, how your credit score works. All right. How your credit score works, because if you have great credit, that's better than having a lot of cash. because you can get the cash with credit, right? And then 2 is understanding how money works and how finances work. And, everybody that you look up to, like from a wealth perspective, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, any of these people, yeah, you can say that, hey, they fell into good positions and they grew up, and hey, man, I don't have a Microsoft or I don't have an Apple, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, they were in good positions, but anybody that's gotten to being wealthy and understands wealth management is a thing. And if you can learn about it, you would understand how that works, because a lot of these people are leveraging the money that they have for credit lines and for to use. Because the one thing I've learned about most wealthy people don't use their own money. And if there's one thing you can take away from financial literacy, is that most wealthy people don't use their own money. So that means that's how they save their money, because they're not using their own money. But their own money is securing whatever they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
get your credit up, people. Get it up.
Get your credit up. Save your money. Live below your means. If you make $1,000, $2,000 a month is like nothing. Damn, you can't even pay rent, shit. But let's just, I would probably say, like, if I had an advice for people, if I would probably live below 30% of your monthly income, man.
Great
if you do
advice,
that,
man.
you'll be well. And somebody told me one time, as a long time ago when I was younger, they told me, they said, live poor now, live like a king for the rest of your life.
I like that.
And it's true, man. So if you live below your means now, save that money. Down the road, you can live how you want for the rest of your life, man.
Yo, that's the real thing I heard. Live below your means, so you can live
like a king for the rest of your life.
I dig that. That's what's up. Shoot, man, but you dropped hella gems, man. I think that's really important for the people that, not just music industry, just life in general. Credit is everything.
No, man, for sure, man.
And saving and spending wisely. Definitely, and investing in your craft.
And listen, man, I say this from a person that didn't do that. So it's something that I learned a lot later in life, that I wish I knew when I was younger. So a lot of you young folks out there that, come across money or doing well and whatever y'all doing, just understand that, it doesn't last. You know what I mean? So you got to figure out ways to save it. And I think one thing that I will say, I think a lot of that next generation, a lot of them seem to have learned that. But a lot of them learned it from, guys from our generation, which had to be like, hey, man, and in all aspects. So when you think about in sports, athletes, that have blown their money, that teach the young guys like, hey, don't blow your money. So now you watch some of these younger athletes like, yeah, I'm investing in these companies and I'm doing this. And that's dope. You know what I mean?
That's really dope.
And I think the more and more people do that, then they teach the younger generation like, hey, that guy invested in this and his build his wealth. Like,
now that's the type of role models that we need. Like a lot of some of these athletes are like, I don't even spend my NFL money. I just spend endorsement money, and that's smart. Like Marshawn Lynch was doing that, and like
Rob
a lot of people doing that now too. Yeah. Like those are smart, smart people that are. Yep. I think that they got that financial literacy class going on too in the NFL. I think they should do that. Man. They should incorporate it into school. Get rid of algebra and replace it with financial literacy. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do with E = MC squared? You know what I mean?
I definitely think that financial literacy should be a class taught in high school, elective. They teach economics. Why not teach financial literacy? One semester. It should be a requirement. But who am I? I'm not a politician. I'm not none of that. So.
Right. Same here, man. Go vote. Make sure y'all go vote.
Yeah, man. Make sure everybody go vote.
I voted for the first time ever. I voted.
Yeah, I vote. I always vote. So here's the thing. I vote pretty consistently. I have to get better at voting like every time. Because believe it or not, people don't realize, but there are voting. There's a voting thing almost every year going on, whether it be primaries every 2 years for these senators and stuff like that.
Your local,
local votes. But I know the main thing that everybody thinks about is the president stuff, and I'm not going to get into politics. But yeah, I actually voted. I actually have crazy. I'm going to show you right now. That's my ballot right there. I got to mail that off, man. I got to mail that off. But yeah, man. Vote, man. Definitely important, man. The only way you can get change is if you act. So voting.
Yeah,
is
if you
the
don't
first
vote, you
step.
can't complain. Don't complain.
Can't
Don't go
complain.
on Facebook complaining because you didn't
Yep.
vote. You know what I mean? I think we covered a lot, and you gave me a fire interview, and can't wait to share Southstar or Rob Campman. Does it bother you when people call you Southstar? Or are you used to it by now?
Nah, not at all,
Or would you
man.
prefer Rob? What do you
Nah,
prefer?
the funny thing is people ask me that because I did the name change and all that, like when I started doing music. But for me, when I went to using my real name, Rob Campman, when I started using my real name, it was more that I was older, so it was more about, I'm a little older. I look at things differently. Like, I'm going to talk more real life perspective, I guess, and from an older person perspective. Where Southstar was the younger version of me, and at the end of the day too, Southstar is also a brand, Southstar is Smilez and Southstar. So if you hear Southstar, you think Smilez and Southstar, and what I give you from that is going to be different than what I give you from Rob Campman. So, Southstar is always is going to be my name for the rest of my life, man. So I don't ever get offended. People be like, yeah, it don't matter. I don't care what you want to call yourself. My friends will tell me, I'm gonna call you South. That's cool. I'm still gonna answer it. You know what I mean? Like it's not different to me because it's part of my story, man. It's part of my life, and it's definitely not something I shy away from. All the good and all the bad with it. So,
are you Team NSYNC or Team Backstreet Boys? Did you ever get to meet them guys? Yeah, you ever get to meet them since y'all in Transcon a lot?
Well, not because of Transcon, but because they were already so big, and by the time we were there, but I'm a little probably more. I would probably lean a little more Team NSYNC just because they're more my era. But NSYNC, we actually participated in one of the dopest events that I ever did. That I was ever able to participate at Smilez Southstar. Obviously, me and Smilez. Was NSYNC used to do a charity weekend called the NSYNC Charity Challenge in Miami, and one of the years me and Smilez were actually able to participate as part of the event, and it's a 3-day event. The first day, you go down, you check into the hotel, you do kind of a meet and greet, and then that night you do a scavenger hunt. There's a cocktail like happy hour. You get a scavenger hunt book. You go out, you do a scavenger hunt around the city of Miami, and then you meet up at the nightclub for the party. Turn in your book, and then you party. And then Saturday they do this obstacle course challenge on the beach with the teams, and then you score points for that. And then Sunday is a charity basketball game. One of the dopest events I ever been to. I mean, when you talk about the people that they brought at the time, all A-list. Except us, all A-list celebrities. I'm like, how the hell did me and Smilez
like
looked at
Britney
each other
Spears?
like,
y'all met Britney?
Britney wasn't there, but I'll tell you who was there. But like A-list celebrities, me and Smilez looking at each other like, how the hell are we in here?
Wow.
But you Gabrielle Union,
I love her.
Shannon Elizabeth, who was in American Pie, she was there. Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton.
Did you get starstruck, or at that point you feel like you played it cool?
No. I mean, I'm not the type to like be like fanning, But of course, man. I mean, I'm a fan. At the end of the day, I'm like looking at everyone like, yeah, I'm a fan. Like I'm like, holy shit. Like I'm in this room. Like
at the time, there's no smartphone to take selfies, huh? You gotta get the disposable cams.
Days, man. Let alone NSYNC. All 5 members of NSYNC are there. And Chris Kirkpatrick's my homie. Like he lived in Orlando. He used to do a lot of parties in his house. Shout out Chris Kirkpatrick. So yeah, I'm definitely Team NSYNC, man.
Yeah, that's dope, man. So freaking A, man. You're a living legend, and thanks for the gems. And
thank you, brother.
Any announcements, any shouts you want to give so we can end this on a positive note?
Everybody that's tuning in, man, make sure y'all follow me. All my social media is I am Rob Campman. That's IAM Rob Campman, CAMPMAN. Follow me there. My show Conversations, I typically do them Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, but I actually have put them on hold for the moment. I am shooting it in a studio now, and I'm going to be bringing that back shortly, so definitely pay attention to that. But there's 21 episodes on my Instagram page. Great conversations I've had with people, lots of gems. But for the people that are listening, I did a conversation with Jen, Timothy DeLaGhetto, Jimmy Boy. Jimmy Boy's conversation, shout out my brother Jimmy Boy all day. His conversation was right after he made the 6ix9ine piece, so we talked about the Shark piece. that he made for 6ix9ine. You know, guys like Kevin Cossum, singer-songwriter DJ Nasty, who produced All I Do Is Win, Wild Thoughts, for Khaled. You know, had him on the show. DJ D-Rec from Wild 'N Out was on the show. I hate to keep naming people. I mean, for my Asian community, J Rise, you know, Ty VG was on the show. You know, I always try to show love to the Asian American community whenever I can, because I feel like, again, we don't have those platforms for us, and I know there's a lot of hip hop representation in the Asian American community that I think needs to be shown. So, but nah, man, shout out to you, man. Appreciate the platform, man. Appreciate you for having me. But yeah, just follow me on the social media platforms, man. I'll keep everybody posted.
Man, thank you so much, Southstar. Are you one more question? Are you done with the music? Any future music, or your focus is now podcasting and like live sessions?
You know, the music's always gonna be in me, right? Well, it's always something that I love. It's always a passion of mine. It's like sports, man. Like I still go play basketball, even though my body's probably telling me you should stop. So then I try to find a different sport to play. Like I picked up golf, and I'm not great at it yet, so that makes me like it more. But no, music will always be a passion of mine, and I can never say that I will never do it. Whether or not I do it because I want to pursue it, you know, maybe as an artist or, you know, like promote it, you know, it just depends on the situation, if it makes a lot of sense, you know. But I definitely mentor, I consult for a lot of people. I got an artist that I work with named Abeck. Follow him at Abeck Music. He's super dope. A producer that I been mentoring since he was like 16 years old, and try to consult and guide him, named July the Producer. Make sure you follow him, July DA Producer. But he's done records for Chris Brown, August Alsina now. So I'm always like a foot in, a foot out, and you know, a lot of it just depends on the situation, man. If the situation makes sense, you know, we'll do more. Me and Smilez have talked about doing a couple records and just putting it out there. So, you know, you never know, man. I won't say that I'm out of it, because it's never going to leave me. It's something that I love doing, and I'm always going to be around, and it's a passion of mine. So I would never say that, you know, I'm stepping away and it's like, oh, I'm done with it, because I still have the passion for it.
Well, respect, man. Whatever you do, man, I'm gonna support you 1,000%, man. Let me know. You're doing a show.
Appreciate
I'm there.
You, my brother.
You know what I mean? I'm in there.
And again,
like
shout out Loud
hair.
Supply, man.
Sabaidi.
Yeah, Sabaidi. That means you know, that
hello,
means,
some sort of greeting.
Yeah,
I think it's hello.
Like a greeting, man.
Yeah.
I was told that, but shout out to them, man. This jersey's really dope. I appreciate the love. The Filipino flag, you know, I'm Filipino and German. You know, you see the peso.
Oh, they sent you that too?
Shout out Cream Bouillon. No, this is actually my buddy has a hat line called Cream Bouillon. So if y'all need some hats, hit me up. I could definitely set y'all up.
Yo, can I send you a ChluyTalk hat? That hat?
Yeah, send it through, man.
I'm gonna send it through, man.
I should have had one already. Should have sent it already. Man.
I should have, man. I dropped the ball, man. So I'm gonna need your conversation hat. Yo, drop some merch, man. Let's just cross promote and just help each other out. I feel like, you know, that's what we gotta do. The only way to level up is we all support each other. I don't want people to think my platform is strictly Cambodian. I mean, this platform is for everybody from all walks of life, all ethnicities. I'm always going to show love to my Khmer people.
I ain't Cambodian, man, so I appreciate you. But I know they listen, man. If you need proof, it's me, man. But shout out to Cambodia. Shout out all my Asians out there, man. Much love. They always show me mad love anywhere I go. So, you know, it's always love to you know, that's the culture, man. And keep doing what you're doing, my brother. I love it, man.
Appreciate
you, brother.
Shout out to
Jupe too, man. Jupe, what's up, man?
Shout out to J.O. Jupe. That's my guy. He killing it. He about to hit his 100K soon, man. I'm proud of you, Jupe. I know you're watching, man. And that video he shot for you, that was love, man. That was good Philly times, man.
Classic.
Make sure you go to Southstar's YouTube and just binge watch his videos too.
Love my brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. What's up, everyone? It's Rob Campman, a.k.a. Southstar of Smilez Southstar. And right now, you are watching ChluyTalk.
See y'all in the next one.